Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video. In today's episode we're once again joined by the channel DJ, and once again we're out in the wild landscape of Scotland. And today we've come to the little glen of Glen Clova, which has so much incredible Scottish history to offer, some of which we've not even seen like ever before on a video. And it's like all different types of history, all the way from the Cold War right back until like megalithic house remains and stuff. And this is the first cool little house remains, or remains of some sort, here on the hill. So let's go and take a look at it. To many this would just look like a grassy mound in the land, but it's quite cool. If you look, there's actually an opening here, like a low bit, and then look, the wall goes right around here. And this could be some crazy ancient settlement. Some of this could have been a house, or it could have even been an area where they stored like animals. Well, like they kept their animals. But because we had never explored this bit, I thought it's cool to come and start the video here. Look, this gives us an idea if it's built up, which it is. Look, you can see how the outer perimeter here is constructed. A lot of this stuff was built so long ago that there's like just a slight remains of the history left, and sometimes it can be changed and developed as farming takes over. And as you can see, the sheep over here, and they run about on top of stuff like this as well, so the remains of the history just disappear slowly as the years go on. Yeah, look, he's found a bit of history, folks. Yeah, it looks like it's an old like shaft from a something. Hey, that's been on maybe like a bit of wood, and look at the way it's bent over at the end. I don't know if that's been like a farm tool, or it could even be like a handle from a sword or something. It's more likely to be a farm tool though, folks, if we weigh up the options. But just look at the construction of that. That is like some ancient history. And it's amazing what you find if you're out exploring and you just look around. This is crazy, folks. And look at this backdrop. You can see there's like rainstorms and stuff up on top of those hills, leading on up to like Loch Wirral and Loch Brandy. Yeah, what a cool place to start this adventure. It just shows you what's under your feet. Everywhere you go in Scotland, there's just a rich history like this, ready to be documented. So yeah, that was a cool start. We'll go on further up the glen. I believe there was even a Glen Clova castle up here, and I think there's some remains of it, and we're going to try and document that in this video too, folks. So yeah, let's get on with this adventure. Here we are, folks, further up this glen, and the landscape is just insane. Look at this. Often this land here was formed after the glaciation period. All this underfoot is what was left behind once all the ice melted and disappeared. And look, there's some fungus. Check that mushroom out. Crazy bit of fungus. That shows you this time of year, folks, it's becoming more autumny. Winter's almost here. Can you see it? Yeah, look, I was thinking there was like a stone circle thing that I had spotted before. Yeah, there's old remains there of stones. But look, this has been something right here, eh? This is some crazy history, folks. Ancient groundworks like this, we're talking thousands of years ago. And it's cool just to document this, because every year nature takes over. Kind of what I've just noticed, look at the size of this fungus. It's crazy, we'll have a bit of nature and then a bit of history all in the same video, folks. Check the size of this fungus out, folks. Wow. It's crazy to see that. Like, I love the different variation of like mushrooms and funguses that you get at this time of year. Like, that one must be more advanced in its life cycle. Did you know that you see at the surface is actually just the seed head of the mushroom? The real fungus is under the ground. That's what they do to spread their seed, and it's a spore, and it travels through the air. Look at this though. Real history of Scotland right here once again. And look at the way this is shaped. It literally does look like it's been a little house of some sort. Even a grave. Do you think a grave site? I think it's been more likely...
Yeah, it's just 2 rooms.
Yeah, look at it this side. It's cool to see how it is constructed, and that side there, if you think how old something like this is, it shows it was so well constructed by what's remaining here today. It's weird because it's kind of curved at both ends, yeah. But it's definitely been something. The way the stones are sloped here, it almost looks like it's been built, but I believe that's probably because they've fallen down over the years. It is insane. It blows my mind often. And there's a lot more stuff like over there as well. Check this out, folks. There's another stone outline here, and it's a crazy bit of the land. There's actually water sitting along the bottom here, and then there's like that ridge where the two trees are. It's often crazy just to walk around and imagine how it might have been back in the days when this sort of place was like a settlement. Oh look, there's definitely been rooms here. Look, here's been the entrance. And then look, the square wall goes round there. And then that could have just been like a little enclosure that they had in the front. But it's almost like that ditch where the water has gathered is man-made. It's been dug. Yeah. And this whole land here has been shaped. It's so crazy to see this. I'm getting attacked by a beastie right now, folks. There's loads of daddy longlegs that's fleeing about here. That seems to be the creature of the day that's fleeing about. Look at this stone here. It looks like a baseball glove. But look what it's made of. It's like red. Is it granite? Look at it. It's got a high quartz content in it. Wow. Yeah, it's right on the edge of this. There's been another sort of like wall leading right around here. Yeah, it's a proper right angle. And then look, it's like there's been an entrance leading down in this way. But all this has been definitely built up. Oh look, there's a little stone construction over here. Like, this has been a proper little settlement. The stone construction's all the way over here. Yeah. This could be this Neolithic site which has been talked of in the area. This is the sort of history, folks. We're just on spontaneous adventures, and we'll often just see things and then start exploring, and you can uncover so much forgotten history. And when you see all these little stone enclosures and little settlements, and it looks like this has been like a central farm almost, or a little small holding of the town. Wow, this is a really impressive stone area here, folks. Look at this here. This is real deal ancient history. Look how thick this outer wall is here. And it leads right around to this. See, some of these houses may have had earth built over the roofs originally. Check this out, folks. It's crazy sometimes the history that we find by just sending it into the wilderness. Look at this.
Ah, come on.
It's a proper construction right here. Okay, and this has obviously been later, I think, put in by a gamey or a shooter. He's probably been shooting over that way, but this construction here is original from potentially thousands of years ago. Yeah. And I believe all these little enclosures and stuff we've seen on today's video so far, it's all related to this time frame, an ancient time in Scottish history. And you can just imagine, kind of when you see these, you can just imagine how all these houses may have been constructed in Scotland back in those days.
Can't see this from the side of the road.
Look at this, folks, the way all these individual little stones was put in there. And just think how long ago those stones may have been laid. Think what the person might have been wearing that was even laying a stone like that. It'd be some old, like, old Highland cloth of some sort that they've probably weaved out of the sheep which were running about. The wool from the sheep. And this has been a proper, like, building. I can't even believe we found this. And it just shows what is just hidden in the glen. And it's been big stones they've constructed it out of. It's been an impressive building. But on this site so far, this is the most impressive thing we've seen. It's a real deal Scottish history, folks. And I think there's
I
another
wonder what else.
stone construction here. Yeah, because all around here, this is all individual little enclosures from a bygone era.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this one, folks. There's another one here. This is insane. Yeah, look, there's a network of walls here. But even behind me on the wall, there's another interesting little detail here. These stones are actually built and constructed here, which is quite interesting to see, because I wonder what this has actually been. And then down there you see the outline of that building. Maybe a little house from a certain era. This is so cool, folks. I was just going to have a peek over here and see if there's any more history that we're missing. Yeah, look at that building there. It's just crazy with that backdrop behind it, folks. It's the real forgotten history of Scotland, and a spot like this is just so peaceful. Even to this day, it's wild and desolate. Over at the other side of this ridge here, I can see that there's ancient remains of what must be old buildings as well. And you can almost see like a line of stones coming in at each side here. It's like almost as if there's been some sort of track coming into that settlement at one time. But like I've said before, it's like so many years have passed since all this stuff was like in its prime. It's crazy just trying to like see what's left and piece together a little puzzle of the history. Look at this, folks. There's massive chunks of that red granite, and we've just noticed another stone building like what we saw earlier on the video there. This is some ancient little constructions on the hill, and we're totally loving finding it. The conditions are getting better in Scotland now for exploring after that extreme warm summer conditions. There's always too many like bugs and beasties and stuff in the summer, folks. Look at that, the wee stream's just going into that bog there. We need to try and not go in the bog. Whoa, I can hear water underfoot. Oh, I've got water in my foot, I believe. Yeah, it's crazy, this scene. This mound here has obviously been part of the settlement. Yeah, there's some massive stones here. A lot of the big stones in the ground at Glen Clova were deposited from the glaciation period. They were collected from the hills up there and then carried by the ice and then deposited. But those settlement like buildings we've seen today are from a far later time in history. Probably some of the first settlers up here in the Glen from an ancient time. And you can see that whole hill there in front of us is actually constructed out of stone. And after so many years pass, it's a shame because the grass builds up, and every year the grass builds up further and further, and all this history is just getting buried. But at least the history will be saved out here because it'll be covered up. Look at this, folks, there's actually a fish skeleton up here, and that just shows you that is maybe some like bird of prey or whatever, or some type of animal fishing at the river and then bringing the fish over here to eat it. This mound that I'm standing on almost looks like it's been some sort of historical area in the land as well, related to these settlement houses that we've seen. It's almost like you can imagine a little town here with the different buildings and the smoke rising up out of the chimneys. The horses would be tied up at the house doors. There was maybe even a stable. That could be what that building with the field around it was. But I'm going to make my way around to look at this other interesting stone structure, but just trying to keep the feet dry, folks. Everywhere you see that dark grass, that's pure soggy territory underfoot. This is crazy, folks. I just literally got a wet foot there. My foot went fully under the water, but I didn't hear the camera rolling. I've just gone through that crazy bog section just to get the footage of this little stone construction. Check it out, folks. This is the next interesting little building that we have here, and it could even be some sort of lime kiln or something like that. I'm not even sure if like in the Neolithic times they even had things like that. And I didn't even know I was going to see such incredible history today out here on the hill. The reason we're thinking this may be like Neolithic houses is because we'd heard a rumour there was abandoned houses from that era around here. But on today's adventure, we literally came over here because I had noticed a stone circle before, and today I can't even find it. But we found this other history. So it just shows you, sometimes when you go on one adventure and you go out exploring, you just find, like, history just jumps out at you. And with an interesting construction like this, it just goes to show there's just stuff hidden everywhere in Scotland, like built at an ancient time. A wee building like this could have been anything, but it's not been very big. That's what makes me think it would have been like potentially a lime kiln or some sort of little shed. But that's where the entrance has been, looking away out that way. And there's just little houses and remains of houses all around. And this sort of spot, I just love it. You can just imagine how Scotland was at one time, years ago, before there was hardly any people in places like this. This would have probably been like the equivalent of a city nowadays. All the people from the Glen probably stayed in a close area, in a little community. Look at that, there's a hill slug. Anyway, I'll head up here and see if the channel DJ's found any more history on the other side of the hill. So here we are, folks. From the top of this hill, you can get a true aspect of this ancient settlement here on the hill. And it's quite cool, like that's a big wall in the middle, and that's been some big walls in its day. And what we've probably seen like 8 to 10 houses or more, or different constructions. The original thing we came and looked at was way up there on the hill. And it's amazing just for you looking over the hill how much more history that we found. And it's just hidden here on this grassy wasteland. Normally it's sheep that's exploring around here looking for their tea, folks, so today it was just 2 explorers that were lucky enough to find this. And it's just random, like, how we could even just find it. I still don't believe it. Spontaneous adventures, folks, that's the way to like find the real history. So that's been another crazy wee adventure, folks, into Scottish history. And it's been cool to document something that we've never seen before on the channel. And I've not actually seen anybody else exploring this place, I didn't think, before. But yeah, I'm going to end this video here, folks. Next to this little bit of purple heather on the Scottish hill, there's total bees and stuff fleeing about. But I'm going to end it here. It's been a cool adventure. Tune in again soon to see where we're going next. Goodbye for me, goodbye for the channel DJ, and we'll catch you very soon with the next adventure.
Blue eyes fade to grey as you fade.